Hey everybody, we got Sarah here, we got Allie here. How's everyone doing? Good to see you, Jacob. So wait, I'm turning, where's Mubot at? Mubot, wake up. There you go, Mubot's waking up. Good morning, Jacob. My volume's a little bit low there. There we go. For BAS 320, my tables charts are not showing up in the plot section on the right like usual. Are they showing up where the code is? Do you know how to change this? Can you send me, are you on the Discord, Allie? What's up, Kayla? Good to see you here. Are you on the Discord? If you can send me your .rmd, or you can email it to me. I can take a look and I'll basically run it and take a look. And yeah, awesome, Allie. Let me see right here. Someone messaged me on Discord already. So let's see. Message me on Discord with the message, and I will take a look. Hey, Miranda, how's everyone doing this morning? We're gonna get started here. We can do some 320, some 201. I think we're gonna try to do some chapter 5. I'm really worried. The background's been stopping, and I don't know why. It's like a problem I have to look into this weekend. We have Shark. Ooh, you see, he paused out. Maybe it's because I've loaded in like 100 videos. Let's see. It's sent on Discord, is it? Or email? Maybe email. That scares me. Why are you pausing out? Also for BAS 320 assignment, how to tell if there's an association between two variables. What are we gonna focus in on? I'm really worried about all the, maybe it's I've loaded in too many videos and too many elements. How will you know if there's an association between two variables? Here, we'll hop over and look at that. I think you might have emailed it. So let me go look at email real quick. Did you email it or did you Discord it? Because I don't see it on either right now. And we'll talk about a little 320 here to start. Maybe it's via, it might be via, let me put out the chat right here. It might be via email, and maybe the email's taking a second. Like email can take a moment to, that's why I love Discord. Discord's so good about like instantaneous. You send it and it's there. Hey, Drew, will you go over visualization number 4? Yeah, we can do some of that. We might do, what do people want to do? We got a lot of people here right now. I got in Discord. Awesome. I think it just appeared. Literally just appeared. Okay, good. Perfect. Literally right as you said that. That's why I love Discord. Okay, let me remove your name right here. And so everyone take a vote on what you want to do. And I'm just going to put in this ID. Okay, cool. And let's see right here. Okay. So you're saying right now your tables are not, oh, I think I know why. Well, no, your tables should appear. I think they should appear. Let's see. I'm going to go over here. Let's take a look at the chat. And can you go back over the lecture from yesterday? So let's see, we got some Viz 4, we got assignment 3. So far we have 3 votes for 3 different things. Keep voting in the chat since there's like probably, I don't know how many people, not 50 or 100 people watching. Just keep saying what you want. And I'm gonna look at the chat to see what people want me to do. And we're gonna go by the chat. Let's hop over here to the main screen before the background destroys us. Maybe, I've got the zoom on. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and run this right here. I'm gonna put a space between these. I'm gonna run everything above runs. And then with this right here, it should produce, are you not getting the output when you produce this right here? So Allie, I'm just here watching David, that's awesome. Are you not getting the output when you produce these right down here? You should get the output. Maybe there's no space between this right here, but you can also check the output. Try doing this, go to knit and knit to Word. I think we should be okay to knit to Word. Let's see if we hit an error. If we hit an error, it might be on one of the final chunks. So the 117 chunk is giving an error. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this for right now. So I'm getting output, but it isn't in the plot section. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. No worries. It'll sometimes do the, and I'll show you how to change that. If you want to get the output in the plot section, do this. Go right here and go to the following. You want this screen. Let me show you again how to get here. To get to where I'm at, go to Tools and go to Global Options. So go to Tools and go to Global Options. So I might be able to show where that's at. That's Tools, Global Options. And under Global Options, you want to go to R Markdown, and then you want the screen to look like this. I think it's Show Output right here. I think this is like just make all these settings, unchecked, checked, sections only, show output in window, show output in line. I think this is the one you uncheck right here. This is probably checked for you. Uncheck this right here, go here on this one, and then there, and then hit apply and okay. So I usually hit apply and okay to save it. And now your output should look more like mine. Don't worry about that. It's just the way it displays it. It's like just, visual options. Does that make sense, Allie? And good questions right there. Because I think that can be confusing, especially to be like, well, why is your output there and it's like, because if things aren't the same, it's a little bit confusing. So now it'll look like mine. This is the way I prefer it. I just like mine. Yes. Thank you, Allie, so much. Let's throw some 20 points. We haven't given out points today. It's Throwback Thursday. We direct those points. Thank you so much for all the positivity. We had people. Does this help out? It worked. Yes. Kayla, see, helping out Kayla right there too. Kayla was wondering the same thing. So don't worry. I seriously mean this. When people have questions in this class, and I don't mean this bad. Don't worry about it. This is like not a bad thing. I'll answer the same question like 5 to 10 times. And don't worry. This is early on the semester. So you're one of the first people to ask this. But like, just wait. We'll be on like the last week of class, and people will be like, Brian, my plots are showing up over there. How can I get my plots to show up over here? Don't worry. And you'll be in chat. You'll be like, oh, you need to go to Tools Global Option. Let's go, Michael. Good to see you here. So everything should show up now, and it looks like you're doing everything correctly. From what I could see through the assignment, you're doing great, Allie. And also, it looks like it is so weird, isn't it? I like this better. I like the way it looks now. I think we're going to be moving this assignment till next Sunday. I mean, I've pretty much said that in yesterday's class. I'll be telling today's class that we're moving it. I can't say it to yesterday's class and then not do it. I just want people to take this assignment really serious. I want people to, so I need to post later today that it's moved, but I pretty much unofficially announced it yesterday because I don't want people on Sunday night to just go through this assignment super quickly. Are we supposed to be knitting as we go? Because I haven't yet because of that error. Yeah, if you want, I'll show you a trick. You ready? What I'm going to hit, I'm going to put this down here as a comment. Control Shift C. So that's PC. And right here, this is a trick a student taught me. Andrew taught me this trick. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so if you highlight all the code and you hit Control Shift C or Command Shift C, this is block comment. So this is block comment right here. If you hold Control Shift or Command Shift and hit C, you can block comment out. So you see I block comment out, I block comment back in. So you can just highlight a bunch of code you want to remove and it'll do a block comment. It's a lot easier than going here. I mean, it's not as long, but you can go here and do this. And that's the same thing. But then you can go back here and unblock comment like that. So that'll just block comment it out and turn it into comments so it's no longer running code. And then just block comment, just bring it back in when you want it to be back in. It's just good practice to like know how to like comment something out, comment something in. And then I think yours will knit now. So I haven't made any other changes to your document. We'll see if it knits. And the answer is, does it knit? It looks like it knitted. There we go. It's just that one thing right there. So does that make sense, Allie? So if you want to knit it, and that's good news. Yours knits. You're on track. And you can just uncomment that out when you want to use it. You could put in some variables right here. All you have to do with this bit of code, and I might even send out an announcement. But if you put in the Greek right here, and then you put in something like a variable, you'll be good. I think we're good on that. People are saying visualization 4 or yesterday's lecture. So let's do some 201 right here, or 320 if you have any more questions. Allie, great job, and everyone. Let's bring up MuBot. MuBot, where you at? So people found out yesterday that MuBot is just Brian. I never said that. Let's go to voting. Let's take a poll of the class. What shall we do? Let's put here BS 320. They could win out. Let's put here Viz 4. Viz 4. Chapter 5. And then I'll ask, what should we do? Okay. So here's the vote. We're taking a vote. So the options again. Zoom in on this. So you can vote. Remember, it's exclamation mark vote. 0 is BS 320. 1 is Viz 4 for Stat 201. And 2 is Chapter 5. So vote now, and we will do what the vote says. Slight buffer. How bad of a buffer? Hopefully it's just a small one. Keep me updated on any buffering issues. Everyone has said every once in a while, oh, there's a little buffer, which is good news. If did anyone else experience a buffer? BS 320 is tied. It's a tie right now. Very small? Okay, very good, very good. That might have just been on your end. We cross our fingers that if one person experiences a buffer, it's just on their end. Because yesterday during class, someone was like, it's buffering. Okay, good. It was only like a second? Okay, good. Oh, man. What one of my biggest fear is, we'll see if any more votes come in. My biggest fear, and it looks like Viz4 is winning out. Very small one. Okay, good. We can handle a very small buffer every hour or so, a very small, just YouTube being YouTube. My fear, it's weird. It's like Mubot is ahead of me. I'm trying to see where that extra vote 0 is. Am I in the past? What's going on? Because I saw Jamie's vote with Mubot, and then I saw it here way later. We need one more vote here. Maybe we'll do a little more 320 questions to finish it up. Then we'll hop over to Viz4 because we're currently doing 320. Put your questions in the chat. We have the 320 assignment open right now. I'm going to probably load up a fresh copy of it. What else are people wondering about 320? We could finish off some 320 to kind of make this segment of the video about 320, and then we could hop over to, I know, Jamie pulling through, making it a tie. What are you wondering 320? All of a sudden, like 10 to 1 votes come in. What are you wondering about 320? Ask your questions. Oh, I think there was a question earlier from Ali. How do we know, there we go, if two variables have an association? Thank you so much. Everyone with the positivity right there. Being like, yeah, we'll finish up a little more 320. How to describe it. So are you working on a specific task? I can't speak today. Are you working on a specific task? And I could like address that task. And I might try to like mark that part in the video. I really want to like, I wish I could put on my Stream Deck a timer thing and I could click and it would mark. I need to do that. I need to make a way. This is Brian musing as he pulls up the assignment. I need to have a button while I'm streaming, and then I could get timestamps of everything I'm doing. Because I go back and I rewatch the video to put in the timestamps. But I wish I could just click a button, and then I would know like, oh, this is where I did this. Because then I could be like, I'm starting a new section. Click, and then get the timestamp. That'd be so good. It'd be perfect. Okay. I've got the assignment here. Oops, wrong button. And then let me close this back down. Okay, here we go. Task 2. It was a tie. Look, Mubot talking about the tie right there. We'll continue stream. I need to talk to Suddenlink. I need to say to them, hey, we pay a lot for internet. And why do we have issues? We'll put in today 0000000 is our student ID. Don't put that in as your student ID. This is a number right here. I have to put this in because when it generates the random sample, it makes it. So task number 2, we'll take a look at that in 2 seconds right here. Does everyone understand what this button does right here? Let me zoom in on it. What does this button do right here? It literally says what it does. It's a very great button, and I could probably go down even further to task number 2, and I could press that button to make my sample. So let's go to task 2, and then let's press the button right here on task 2. So the button literally says, run all chunks above. So it's going to run all the chunks of code above. This runs the current chunk, and this is the options for the chunk you're on. So I'm just going to hit the run all chunks above, and when I click this, it runs every single chunk above, making my random sample. And if you're wondering, I've got a bunch of things in global environment. Let's just see what happens. Now we have the random sample. This is the random sample I'll use with 400 plus the last 2 digits of my ID. It was taken from survey 11, so we should be on track. And here's the amount right here. I called it amount, but that's got that all right there. Your goal is to compare University of Tennessee students on 2 categorical variables. The first will be class level, and the second will be the variable you choose. So if you chose class level, just choose a different one. Be like, you know, someone could technically have chosen another variable up there they could have chosen class level. Just choose another one and then do it here. Create a table and talk about the marginal versus the conditional distributions of the variable. This is great review for 201. And let's make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Create a table, talk about the marginal distributions and conditional distributions. It's all right if there is not a strong relationship between the 2 variables. The key to getting a full credit is mentioning the values in the table and talking about anything that might be of practical significance. Make sure to mention if you believe there's an association or not. So a big thing we need to know instantaneously, which I think are some of the easier questions on the test, is when we are making, let's go down here. So we got class level, kind of made an ordinal variable, 12 warnings. Sure, why not? Oh, I think it's because of it was the do try catch error. There's not, oops, I'm running just that R right there. There we go. Okay, so when we look at this, we are making a table, and can we use table format is going to be my sample, and we're going to take the variable name. So what categorical variable should we use right here, Ali and everyone else? What is a categorical variable we should use right here? Just tell me the number. We're looking at class level. I already saw one interesting one that might be interesting to look at. There might not be a strong relationship here. So I already saw one, but it has to be categorical, remember. So some more interesting ones. we could look at any one of these interesting variables right here, and it's by class level. Just tell me the number of the variable you'd be interested in, and it has to be categorical. So just tell me the number of the variable you'd be interested in, and it has to be categorical. And this is real data. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, is there a relationship between this? Someone's class level, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior at UT, and this variable. So and this is 201, like, you don't have to know what to code. Favorite, yes, that's interesting right there. So let's look at it. Favorite alcohol by class level. So when you do a table, it doesn't truthfully matter which one we put in the X and the Y. I'm pretty sure table puts this as X and then the second one is Y. And you'll see in a second, I'll show you why I sometimes forget the format for table. You're like, Brian, you should know everything. You teach the class. It's like, I don't make tons of tables. What variable is class level? I just call it, oh, it's 06 class, and I reordered it there. There we go, that. And let's make this a little bit bigger here because we're just gonna look at the output below, and good. So when we look at this right here, we need to figure out the marginal and the conditional distributions. And you know what? It'd be a lot more work. So when you look at this right here, see, I wonder if there's something I don't know. If I do this in the office hours, everyone's going to do it and cheat. And I want you to know how to calculate these. I want you to know how to calculate. Ooh, do you just put in? Oh my gosh, Kayla, are you serious? Are you serious? Kayla's just going to win everyone. Like, I don't care. I'm giving everyone 50 points. And look at how Kayla communicated that to me. She's like, just wrap it in that function. Just like, oh my gosh, talk about something awesome. Thank you, Kayla. Just like when I saw that right there, just that's all I needed to know. I saw that Kayla added that, and I was like, that must be like something to wrap the function in. And all I did was wrap my function in that. Thank you, Kayla. That's a well-deserved 50 points. That was a great suggestion right there. It's going to make our lives way easier. So you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to flip the variables right now. Let's go here and take this and put it on the other side. Just because I want to read it this way, I'm just going to flip the variables. Cool. Okay. So Kayla getting everyone some mega points right there. It's not Mega Mondays. It's Throwback Thursdays. What is going on with the videos? Maybe I need to see that video even paused. So it's affecting all the videos. It's called having way too many things, too many videos loaded into Streamlabs. It might be like, don't load in 10 gigs of video. Don't do that. It might actually be that issue because I've actually noticed more pausing as I've uploaded more videos into Streamlabs. Gonna look into it this weekend. So credit goes to Google. Well, that's a lot of the class. A lot of the class is Googling how to do stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of the class. So when I did this right here, I flipped the variables, and I want you to think about the marginal distribution for juniors. And we really don't have a good sample of freshmen. Freshmen are what? Freshmen are the easiest to calculate the conditional distribution. I just misspoke. I said marginal. Freshmen are easiest to calculate the conditional distribution for, given someone is freshman. Just look at that, and that's so easy for my table right here. Freshmen are the absolute easiest to calculate for. They're a small sample, though, so freshmen are the easiest to calculate for, and this goes for 201. So 201 literally just did a chapter on this where they had to calculate, like, given someone is a freshman, or for freshmen, what is the probability that they like none of these choices? When you know it's so interesting, I find that interesting. Because when you look at none, we need to do conditionals for these, but what do you notice about none as someone gets older, which we don't have as many seniors? And once we visualize this, it'll be easier to look at. But look at none for freshmen. None for freshmen is what? When there's silence, I'm so afraid we're buffering. So what is the conditional distribution for freshmen? I'm going to make it even bigger. We need to know instantaneously how to calculate the conditional distribution for freshmen. This one, if this was on the test, this would be like, got it, don't even need my calculator. And I like questions like that. Exactly, Kayla, exactly. This is, it's 50%. 50% of freshmen say that they like liquor. 50% of freshmen say that they like none of those choices. No freshmen, or 0% of freshmen reported beer. 0% of freshmen reported wine. And so I'd maybe hone in on this. Like, if I'm going to write this up and talk about this, one thing to look at right here, and this we should be able to calculate. That's, my brain's breaking. That's 20, gosh, I should be able to figure it out because it's force. It's a little more than 20%. I just got to slow down. Got to be like, nah, is it 20.25%? 20.25%. Good. Because it's all force. So 20.25%. Yep. And so 20.25% of everybody, this is the marginal distribution. Does it make sense right here, 320, 201, that this is the marginal distribution? This is good 201 review. This is the marginal distribution because it's in the margins. This is the marginal distribution because it's, hey, what's up, Adam? Good to see you here. This is the marginal distribution because it's in the margins. And 20.25% of everybody says that they drink none. You can do any of the marginal distributions by calculating just across them. And so going further, you could actually, you know what you could do? Be very careful with this. I'm going to write something and then I'm going to only take something from it. If you want the percentages, watch this, Kayla. Let's divide by. Be very careful with this code because I'm going to do something and then I'm going to only take something from it. I'm going to take this. So there it is right there. And I'm going to remove that. Here is the percentages for the marginal distribution. And here's the percentages for the marginal distribution of the percent of people who are freshmen, sophomore. Don't use these percentages, though, because these are all divided by, I'm probably just going to delete those. These are all divided by 400. Don't use these percentages. These percentages are off. So technically, if you wanted, you could run this table right here. And to do all the work for you, you could divide by 10. And then here's the freshman percentage. I wonder, and I'm going to try something. You ready? I wonder this. I wonder if there's a way, because there's always, when there's a will, there's a way. Let's divide by the vector 10, 190, 145, 55, 400. It's probably going to go. And did it do it? No way it did it, didn't it? Kayla, did that work? Did I just turn it into all the marginal? I think I did, right? Let's see. What should this, everyone needs to know, what should this add up to if this is a conditional distribution? I think I've done it. What should this add up to if this is a conditional distribution? What should this add up to if this is a conditional distribution? If this is a conditional distribution, it looks like it, doesn't it? I just added in the vector and I was like, okay, I hope it just goes across the table properly. So I added in the sums because I divided by, yep. What should this add up to if this is a conditional distribution? Like given someone is sophomore, it adds up to 1, yeah. And all these look like they do. We're going to go right here. We're just going to call this table because this is getting really long. We code in.
Little bits.
So here we go. Let's go to round and table and go to 4. And there we go. And you know what? Let's times it by 100. And there we go. And there you are. Much easier to read. Much, much easier to read. So I would use this end result right here. And maybe I would use the original table. But now we have a table that shows the marginal distributions. So I would first produce, if I'm going to present this is like some major hints, and then let's analyze this. I would produce both of these tables right here. I did this in 2 steps. It was just the output was getting pretty big, so I wanted to remove some output. So here's my 2 produced things. I have a table of the counts of individuals. This is a contingency table. I'll run all the code above Ali. You might have restarted R. Hit the button up here, and that should run all chunks above. Ali, thank you for that right there. You might have restarted R. Like this morning, you might have got up and said, oh, I'm going to restart the assignment. And then R removes your global environment. So hit the run all chunks above, and it should exist again. Tell me if it doesn't. Run the all chunks above. And then with this table, remember we do record these, so if you're like stuck on something, remember start from the very start and use autocomplete. Let's take a look at this table. What do you notice about, especially freshmen jump out? Or what do you notice about beer? It looks like the water students like beer. Like when you look at beer for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, what might indicate to you that maybe there's something going on right here? What do you notice about beer as this right here? It constantly does what? And then also none. As people get older, right, Charlie? Exactly. As people get older, they're more likely to like beer. As people get older, the probability of none drops. And like generally speaking, seniors are older than freshmen. Obviously, you can be a freshman and be 90 years old. But since they're sequential, there's just a higher probability that someone who's a senior, generally speaking, is associated with being older. Is associated does not mean you will be older, though. So that's why we can have a lot of outliers, because there's a lurking variable talk. So also you notice right here, liquor is actually going down. And so the easiest way, so I want you to know what to do with this question. I've been speaking a lot about these distributions. These are the conditional distributions right here. Given someone is a senior, the probability that they report that they drink wine is or that they like wine best is 12.73%. This is very different from freshmen who, with a very small sample size of only 10 individuals, reported that 0% of them drink wine. Freshmen were very unique, that 50% of them drink liquor and 50% of them reported none. We do see a trend in the data that the probability of liking beer increases, with 0% of freshmen liking beer, 21.58% of sophomores liking beer, 32.41% of juniors liking beer, and 32.73% of seniors liking beer. The liquor marginal distribution is fairly constant across all groups. See how I'm mentioning marginal distributions? Does everyone see how I'm using these key terms, that the marginal distribution right here is for everybody? So this is pretty constant across all groups. Is this making sense how I'm talking about this? That the marginal distribution, which shows that 43.75% of everybody reports liquor as their favorite drink, is pretty constant across all groups. This is the key terminology that you need to talk about. You need to be talking about marginal. You need to be talking about conditional. You need to use those phrases properly and kind of walk someone through this and explain your reasoning. That, to me, I'm actually, in truth, I'm 50-50 on if this is statistically significant or not. I think that this is possibly statistically significant, and we should do further statistical analysis. That would be my final say on this, that this is possibly statistically significant and requires further analysis. And guess what? We're going to get that further analysis right here. We need to make sure to put in seed, and then we're going to do a little on statistical significance, and we're going to go to another topic. Let's go here to the associate function. Associate is in reg class. And then we're going to do our trick right here. We're going to go to attach, and we're going to go to my sample. This is a trick to make them autocomplete. And the variables are X06. We are going to see if someone's favorite alcohol can be explained. Let's zoom out. We're going to see if someone's favorite alcohol can be explained. There it is. By someone's class level. And let's go here to data equals. We'll put this on a new line. Just starts a new line. And data equals my sample. And I think I say to set the seed. This sets the randomness. We'll talk more on that today in class. Your sample came back. That's awesome, Allie. Great job. Set the seed to the current year. That's current year, right? And I don't think I have the permutations us doing yet, right? Okay. So here it is. And ooh, that is close. Oh, wow. You know, I couldn't have been more correct. I'm sorry. I'm not how my, okay. Good job, Brian. That's, yeah. It's just, as I congratulate myself, I'm like, oh, that sounds pathetic. That sounds sad. But this is the iffiest of iffy things, and we actually reached a scenario that we'll be covering probably next class. So for those wanting to work ahead, our p-value has uncertainty in it. Because what do you notice, Kayla and Allie and everybody in Stat 201, we just mentioned this yesterday, we'll talk about it today. What do you notice about the p-value here? And then what do you notice about the range of p-values? This is important for all classes. You should instantaneously know when a p-value is statistically significant. When is a p-value statistically significant? And we haven't gotten into this in 328. We know this, but we haven't gotten into this. When is a p-value statistically significant? That's something we should know in both classes like that. Wait, reverse it. Flip. When the p-value is low, reject the null. When the p-value is high, just let it fly. So that p-value is high or low. Great review right there, everyone. Great practice. Is that p-value high or low? Is that p-value high or low? At the technical sense of above. Nice job, Jamie, right there. Oh, and you might have been saying it's over 0.5. Yeah. So this p-value is high. So we just let the null fly. And the null is that there's no association. This one's remember, we talked about this in 201 yesterday, that there's always a different starting assumption. When you run the associate function, the easiest null to understand is there's no association between class level and someone's favorite alcoholic drink. So we right now would not reject the null, but our p-value is a whatted p-value. I want you to just write the word in the chat. I know I'm highlighting it, but that 0.06 is just a p-value that's been whatted for us. It's just via these random permutations and the percent of area beyond that red line, It's estimated. So how could we make a better estimate? How could we make a better estimate? Because here's what we think the p-value might be between. Or we're like, well, it could be between like 0.041 to 0.085. How could we make a better estimated p-value? Like, what would just make our estimate more accurate? Like, we did make a tighter interval. We'd be more certain, more permutations. Like, and it says that right here. If 0.05 is in the interval, increase the permutations. So we're gonna write here. Yours doesn't ask you to do this. This is advanced, but I have to do this because I want to do good statistics. When I look at this, I'm like, ooh, that's iffy. So let's go right here and let's do permutations equals 5,000, which you will do later in the assignment. And it's running it, and it's going to do more permutations. And now what do we get? So now we see right here the p-value is very similar to what it was. And now the interval is actually acceptable because the entire interval is what to 0.05? The entire interval is what to 0.05 right here. So look at 0.05, and then my whole interval estimating the p-value, which is tighter than the last one. The entire interval is what? And exactly not statistically significant, which now we would say we have confirmed that it's not statistically significant, or we have good evidence it's not statistically significant. So you can almost p-value your p-value. It's crazy. This is something I want to reiterate. This is something we couldn't do 10, 15, 20 years ago. You go back 20 years ago, this would be ridiculous. People would be like, you're going to simulate 5,000 things by random chance. And they'd be like, yeah, the computer can't do that. You're going to have issues. So this is something we do with kind of, Kayla, we were actually talking about this yesterday. It's kind of the idea of like brute force solving something in mathematics with like all possible things. And have you noticed that in mathematics that computers are changing how people do mathematical problems because computers can do so many. I'm sure what's up, Alexander? We'll hop over to 201 here in a second. We're going to do some visualization 4, I think. Maybe you've seen, and maybe you'll have to tell me more about it, how computers have changed how people solve mathematical problems because computers have changed how we solve things in statistics. What does it say, Feb 9th? Because, oops. Can I change that now as we do that? Because I copied the stream title from February 9th. Where is it? Oh, here it is right here. Let me go to the studio. Thank you so much for putting that out, Alexander. 2 seconds. Let's hop over to 201 here, or if there's any other questions. Let's hop over to 14 people. Yes, if you're here, what do you want to do? Oof. It says February 9th. I don't know about that, Alexander. On my screen, maybe if you refresh it, it says February 11th. Watch me cross the stream. What is it? On my stream, it says February 11th. That's weird. What? Last question. My screen keeps hopping from the environment plot screens from the console and coding. I can't figure out how to display them all at once in ADS. We might need to hop on. Obviously you're on Discord. If you're free on Discord right when I hop off office hours, catch me between office hours and class. I'll be like sending an announcement to people and being like, hey, join class. Reload the page. And I think it'll say 11th now. I'll be like, oh, look at that. This is 11th. I changed it. I went in and typed 11th. I think we have one class. We have the visualization class, Charlie, that does Python. Also, if you're in my class, you get free data camp, and data camp is awesome. You get 6 months of data camp. Thank you, data camp, again. And we also, all my classes are in R. So Charlie getting some shouts from Michael right there. Michael in class, Merit asked me to mod you, and I'll get you modded right there. But my classes teach in R, and we've got some upcoming classes. I think, is this it? Is this upcoming classes? No. There's upcoming classes with me, but if you want to learn Awesome Alley, yeah, let's do that. We'll take a look and we'll figure it out. It's easiest for me to hop on with those because, man, it's so good having Discord. You can just hop on and be like, hey, take a look at my screen. I'll be like, there's the problem. 201, are you ready? We got 12 people watching. 201, are we ready? 201, let's go grab the data files. It's so awesome, and I really want to give a big shout out to Connor Moore. If anyone knows Connor Moore, he is like, I'm so proud of all my students, but you get to know some students over like 2 years. And Connor I told him, I said, you're learning things that, you're teaching me things. And he literally did send me stuff last night. I've got open, where'd it go? Yeah, I have open this right here. So Connor was sending me stuff for the class I'm going to be teaching. He's like, you should really use this package. And I'm so thankful for, his advice, his guidance. And you might be like, Brian, your students are guiding you. I'm like, yeah, no, he's He took the time series course last semester, and he had some really good advice for the course and what we should be doing in the course. As I download the data right here, let me make sure. It's going to show classes over for a second. Okay, good, I think, yeah. And he just had some really good advice for the course, and I'm really super thankful. I'll zoom. Class, okay, but it's really just there we go. Also, BAs through 20 friends, just in case you haven't seen it, there's a helpful rubric attached to assignment 3. Yes, Kayla, you are totally right. That is huge. I really want people. Yeah, Alexander, when you start learning, like anytime you know, like literally, okay, wait, you don't even have to have graduated. Kayla, what's up, Calzone? Oh, no, sorry, Calzone. I was making sure that I wasn't pulling up anything. And so good to see you, Calzone, Tyrone, fan favorite right here. Always getting shouts in the chat for Calzone, Tyrone. So Kayla is literally helping everyone right now. And also, I want to point out, Kayla gave us some code earlier today that I didn't know. Kayla brought up, we'll mention real quickly right here. Kayla brought up the add margins code. And so this add margins right here, which made the table look so much nicer, we're just going to, this should display it. Kayla gave us this code right here for our table that adds the margins. And I didn't know that just because I don't make a bunch of these tables. And so it can be something as simple as that. I think I've adjusted your points, right, Calzone? Did I fix it? Mubot, what are you doing? Try it again, Calzone. There we go. There we go. Calzone just destroying everyone with the points right there. And I think your thing will update. There's a new tier. You'll no longer be Brian tier. Just hang out for a little bit if you want, Calzone, and your tier will update. Everyone's like, what the heck? I love it. I love it. Stay tuned, Calzone. We've got like the legends of Stat 201. Just stay a little longer. Your tier will update. Okay. Oh, let's get serious right here. Are you ready, 201? Let's get serious. Everyone watching the video is like, come on, come on. Let's do the assignment. You ready? Okay, let's do this. Okay. So here is the visualization assignment that we're working on. Here is the visualization assignment. The visualization assignment that we have is going to be to make 2 pivot charts. 2 pivot charts. Alexander knows some stuff right here. Oh, 2 pivot charts. Now, I want to point something out. Who has ever emailed me their assignment for me to just look at and be like, it's good? And also, if I tell you it's good, well, one, you might get like a 95. I might miss something small, but if you get like a 60, please tell me. I'll try to check people up. But does anyone ever email me their stuff and I'm like, hey, you're good on your pivot chart? So, or you're good on your assignment. I've actually, sometimes I'll go in and just assign someone 100. It's very, very small. There's really very bad conversions. So please email me your work if you want me to just give it a quick glance. I can catch some major errors, but every once in a while someone does this assignment, especially this one right here. I see this one a lot of big errors. So let's do, right now we are doing pivot chart 2. Pivot chart 2 is a lot like pivot chart 1, but we're going to do pivot chart 2, and then we're going to do a short write-up for it. So right now we're doing pivot chart 2. I just want to make this clear, where we have to choose 1 categorical variable for columns, 1 categorical variable for rows, 1 quantitative variable, and we'll display the averages. We can make anything we want. Little buffer right there. Anyone else? Little buffer? We can deal with 2 little buffers. Little buffer every 30 minutes. That's fine. So seriously, Suddenlink. Seriously, I'll pay you big dollars. Same. Little bit. I need to talk to Suddenlink. So what we're going to do, we're not going to have a heart attack. We're going to go right here, and we're going to hit Control A. We're going to hit Control A, and what will Control A do? What will Control A do? Control A will select all the data. With Control A selecting all the data, we've been good. Monday was just a bad day, and we've been pretty good since then. So with Control A, we're selecting all the data. And now we're going to go here and go to Insert and go to Pivot Table. Now, we don't want a pivot table. You don't have to change anything here because we've selected all the data. I wish, if that's some place I can get internet from, I would gladly leave my internet provider and get new internet with another provider, that because Suddenlink doesn't have the best reviews. And I'm starting to see why. It could be some sort of thing with the area, like I'm trying to find my screenshot. Screen view, here we go. Let me vanish away out of the screen here so we can see it. I've just got a special thing to show this. Okay. So with this, you can see which variables I'm selecting right here. What is the first thing we do when we make a pivot table? When we make a pivot table, we first select the what? The variable we want to what? We first select the what? We first select the variable we want to what? So when we make a pivot table or pivot chart, the very first task I always tell students, I have no idea what that even means, Alexander. Brian's getting old. What do we select first? What we want to measure, what we want to understand. Let's look at, I always look at high school GPA. We want to look at a quantitative variable. So let's look at, let's look at, oh, really? Do they really have it? No way. Are you guys being serious? Because I will look into that this weekend and maybe switch internet providers. Is it only in certain areas? If it's good, stable internet, if I have that, I will switch to it. I don't even care if it's like $200 a month. I will pay good money for good, stable internet. So, because you guys deserve it. We don't want this buffering stuff, and we want strong. Let's go to pet expense. Let's talk about paying stuff. It's on pre-order right now. God, kidding me, pre-order. When's it come out? Let's go to pet expense. Where pet expense come? I actually got frustrated there. So now that we have a variable selected, let's zoom in on this so we can see what it's showing. What is this showing? You should know what this is showing. Always be thinking, what am I displaying right here? What am I displaying right here? As we talk about Starlink. I'm seriously going to look into this. I'm not in that role of an area. I'm just in a area that, like it's monopolies. I'm displaying the total, the sum, exactly. So what do I want to do here? This is important terminology we should know. What am I going to change here? This is a review of how to do pit. Like I can click this button and you'll see the answer. But I'm going to change the what for the value field. I'm going to change the what for the value field right now. This is a review of how to make them. Oh, I'd pay that. I'll gladly pay that. I'll gladly pay that. If it's good, fast, because internet is way better in a lot of countries than it is in the US. And if he's going to have internet like other places have internet, I'll pay him right now. I'll just go to the bank, just throw the money at Elon Musk. I'll be like, take my money, dude. Here's my money. Take money. When's it come out, Jacob? It's the value field setting. And so right here, let's zoom in on this. The value field setting allows us to control the way the value field is displayed. So this value over here that you can just barely not see off the screen, that value right here is going to change. It doesn't change yet because we haven't clicked it. So you can see it says average. I zoom in so you can see that. We're going to change this to average right here. And now this is the average people spend on their pet expense. $655 a year is the average people spend. But what do you notice crazy about this right here? Who notices something crazy? I want you to think about, hey, Brian, if you're going to display this, would you tell someone 655, 81, 51, 33? Let's see right here. What do you notice crazy about this? These are things we should notice where we'll lose points. What do you notice crazy about this? I clicked the home button. What is crazy about this? Yeah, it's not rounded at all, really. Under the home screen, you've got the add and remove decimals button. Too many decimals. Great job right there, Drew. We're going to go right here and we're going to remove the decimals. This is under the home screen. Exactly, Alexander. Calzone, check your points again if you're still here. You can show the new tier. He might have gone. Thank you so much for swinging by, Calzone. I was like, Calzone sees that we're online, hops by and says, hey, it's so awesome. Shorten it, exactly. What do you think I should do? And I think there's two answers to this question. What do you think are the two possible answers that Brian thinks you should have for how many decimals? Because this is money right now. And technically, I'm afraid to do something because this one is money. I think it is first come, first serve. So, ooh. Probably won't be great at first, but I would say Elon. I might just buy it and use it as a second. I agree, Kayla. I'd either go with 2 or 1. Now, please realize that this is money, so you could change this to currency. This one right here, you could change to currency and you would round it. Please do not do this for things like GPA. Do not with GPA have GPA be money. Do not with GPA have GPA be money. Don't do that. So I'm a little bit afraid to put money on here just that we start getting a ton of tables where people turn it to money because someone watches this video on mute and is like, oh, he turned it to money. I'll just turn it to money. And it's like, no, don't. This is not money. I mean, this is now. But so it's not the end of the world if it doesn't have the money context. But if you put money on GPA, that would be not good. So what do you think? And I think I might know one. What do you think might be associated with how much people spend on their pet? Like, we're likely to have a pet. We might just hit an internet buffer. So annual salary might be one too, and that'd be quantitative. And for some reason, the YouTube chat is slower than the other chat. Everything is just weird today. And I can't pull down the variable. There we go. So, oh my gosh, that's not what we're supposed to do. Student loans is what I wanted. There we go. So yeah, I actually just hit a buffer right there too. I think that was a weird issue. My screen kind of went back and forth. I think that was a YouTube issue. Very sorry about that. That happened last class too. So we should be good now. I think that was literally like YouTube reconnecting. I'm so sorry, everybody. We don't usually have this many issues, and I'm going to try to look into them more. Monday was a really bad day, and then the rest of the week's been we've been settling out. Very, very sorry, everyone. Oh, look. What do you notice right here? There is a difference between these two groups. Thank you, Alexander. I really appreciate that. I feel sometimes it is. Like, it's not my fault. I just don't want people. My fear is someone's going to be like, why do you stream on YouTube when there's so many problems? Thank you so much. Let's put Greek life in here. Let's put Greek life. I'm not going to choose Greek life because it has yes, no. Let's go distance from campus. Yes. Okay, here we go. I like this. Okay. So here we are. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. I like the positivity. During one of our Stat 1 classes, it was getting pretty bad, and I know I'd get frustrated too. And I was like, no, I don't like it when we have buffering issues. It's rare, and this semester we're just getting hit. It looks like there might be an association, Alexander. This is visualization number 4. And let's go ahead and turn this into a pivot chart. So let's go ahead and go to Insert. It should be here, right? I don't know where it's at. Pivot chart, there it is. It's under Pivot Table Analyze, and it's under Pivot Chart. And I'm actually going to flip these variables. I do notice some differences. I'm going to take, and let me show you. I'm just going to take and flip these. I like it better this way. Now, if you are on a Mac, let's stretch this out here. There we go. That's looking pretty good. If you are on a Mac people, you will go over here to Design, and you will go to Add Chart Elements, and here's where you'll add it. So if you are on a Mac, you will go over here. So maybe I should do it over here. Maybe I should just click the buttons right here to show that we can add the axis titles, which we do not have. There we go. Oh, those are the axes. Here's an axis title. Here's an axis title, which gives information. Let's go over here and go to chart title. And we won't do that one. No way. Is anyone else having Jacob's problem? Is everyone else? Reload the page, Jacob, maybe. I'm going to be super blurry if that. Try and refresh. Yeah. Always just try refresh. If I'm worried that Suddenlink is like, hey, you upload like so much on the internet. We are slowing you down. You had that same issue earlier this week. We seriously had so few issues last semester, and this week's in a bad week, and it makes me worried. I don't like being worried. There we go. Look at this. Excellent table. Excellent table right here. You could increase because I am so blind. One, let's put in a chart title here. So this is distance or average pet expense by distance from campus, and what was our other variable? And student loans. Prepared by Brian Stevens. Please put your name here. Yeah, I agree too. It could be, that's the thing. It could be like if one person reports it, I'm like, might be your internet slowing down. And then if everyone reports it, I'm like, uh-oh, it's my side. And so it really helps me know. Jacob, always tell me these things, because if it is my internet, I need to know these things, and I need to talk to Suddenlink, because if they have a package higher than the one we have, I'm going to pay for it. And if we have issues, I'm going to be very unhappy with them. because I'm pretty sure we have the best internet they offer. And I also have like a $200-$300 router and modem each. Like we have very good router, very good modem, and I'm Etherneted in. So for all my techie friends out there and students, we are Ethernet connected on this computer. And just so anyone can see, like, let's go here and go to speed test. So we'll run a speed test real quick on Google. And here's our up right now, our down, and here's our up. So you're supposed to be getting about 5 megs up. So we're getting 450 down, and the down doesn't really matter. What matters right now is the up speed, and we're getting 24 up. So your net connection is very fast. We should not have issues. This is like very good high speed internet, like the speed, but you have to have a good stable rate. So you only need 5 up to do what we're doing, and we have 25 up almost. Sometimes I usually have like 40 up. So here we are right here. Does everyone understand what's going on with these two groups? What do you notice? And we could go right here. And here's the on-campus people. So let's put on-campus up here. I'm just going right between. Here's the fort. So the fort would be right here. And under a 10-minute drive. And there we go. Okay. So what do you notice between these groups right here? What do you notice? Who spends the most on pets? Which I see two groups that generally spend the most on pets. It's so interesting. Yeah, so if you click one of these and then you have to go between it, you can grab it right here. So if you click between it, you can grab it. It's a pretty small window of where you can click. You have to click one of them, and then you'll see right when you're between it, you'll see this. So you'll see that little tiny thing, and you have to grab and move it. It's like the near impossible task. There might be a way to do it here. Manually, you can drag the items, ascending, more options. You might be able to do it that way. If anyone has another way to sort them, there might be a better way to sort these than the way I do it, where you have to go right here and manually move it. So you have to like manually move it like this. If anyone has a better suggestion, I think there is another way to do it, but give that a try. Is this making sense right here, Alexander? And were you able to move them? You click one of them, and then you go right between it, and you should see a little tiny thing like that. And then you can drag and move it around. So you can then move it like that. I'll move it back. So it's not super important that they're in order. That's more of a like making it look nice type thing. How's everyone doing? Does everyone have, this is graphic number 2 working on, the groups they spend the most on their pets are those who live. Nice job. And then quote the numbers. Quote the numbers. So Alexander, you're on the right track right there. Quote the numbers is very big. So I would say the groups that spend the most on pets are those that lived a 30-plus minute drive away from campus and have student loans. They spent $925. The group who spent the least on pets were the people who are under a 10-minute drive and do not have student loans, and they spend $492.11 on average. Generally speaking, people who are, it's weird. This is definitely a weird one. We didn't get an easy one to interpret. The people who live furthest away from campus are spending a lot more on pets. We see both groups spending over $800 with $816.67 and $925. They are among the highest groups of people who spend the most on their pets. The people who are on campus are very similar, with spending $698.55 if they do not have student loans and $684.30 if they do have student loans. It looks to me like it's possible that people who live further from campus might spend more on their pets, and also it's hard to tell whether or not student loans impacts how much people spend on pets. If you look right here, the people with not student loans spend more. Here's the people with student loans spending more, not student loans spending more, with student loans spending more. So it's hard to tell if student loans is really having an impact on whether or not people spend more on their pets. Notice how I'm quoting numbers too. I can't make this clear enough. Let me put some notes right here. So we can actually just copy this image. I'm going to hit Control C. Let's go over to a Word document right here. Our 10,000 Word documents open. And I want to make it very, very clear some things you should be doing. 1, mention numbers. I can't put enough exclamation points after this. You need to mention the numbers. You need to mention like, here's this, here's this, here's this number. You need to make that as clear as possible. 2, after mentioning numbers, mention trends in the data. We don't really have any good trends right here. 3, mention the highest and the lowest groups. Generally what I'm seeing, I'm just mad about the period right there. Generally what I'm seeing is people are writing about 4 to 5 sentences. The ones I'm seeing that are doing an amazing job are writing about that much of an area. They're just going through here and just writing about it. And I'm generally seeing about this much text afterwards. So that's what I'm generally seeing, where somebody goes through and explains with numeric backing the trends in the data and also the highest and the lowest groups. So is this pretty clear on what we want you to do on visualization 4? And we just did graphic 2. I can't get my pivot table to show the values. Are you on a Mac or a PC, Alexander? Good question, Alexander. Are you on Mac or a PC? Mac or PC? And for some reason, my text is lagging versus what I see right here. Well, we might have hit a lag burst right there because I opened the chat. Oh, it literally says I've been live for 10 minutes on this. That's weird. You're on boot camp on a Mac. So if you are, so you're on PC, right? If you're on a PC, because you're on the PC portion, if you're on boot camp, go right here to the plus icon and go to data table. And you can go right here, data table with legend. Or also, if you've selected this should be on both. Go to add chart element, go to data table, and you should have the data table right here. You might have to send me an image of it, or but does that make sense? Do you see where I'm at? Do you have any of these options right here? The one on the far left should be available on both, and I think only PC for some reason allows you to do it with the plus icon on the graphic, and I have no idea why they have differences between Mac and PC. If I was making Excel, I would make them 100% the same. And if I had a feature I couldn't put on a Mac or a PC, I would be like, nope, we can't do it on one of those, so we're not going to do it on either, because we're going to have them be identical. So when someone uses it on the other platform, is the prepared by in the title required? Yep. Great question right there, Liam. Or can we put our name in the Word document? It should be in the title. If you're wondering why, you got the values. Yes, great job right there, Alexander. If you're wondering why, we want to make sure it's your own work. Is there only a write-up for the pivot chart? Pivot chart 1 and 2, pivot chart 2, pivot chart 1 and 2, pivot chart 1 and 2. Because I repeated and then make an error. So the write-up should follow after the screenshot of the appropriate pivot chart. So there, make sure to mention the key aspects. So make sure to do both write-ups. You will do a write-up for both of them. So you will do a write-up on both pivot charts right here. So this politician wants to talk briefly. You're talking about, you don't have to like talk about it. You're an intern for, I don't know. I don't think anyone should grade that you mentioned you're an intern for a politician. Cool. You're an intern for a politician. Are there more questions on this? You're welcome, Alexander. Great questions, everybody. We only had 2 lag bursts today, and I really don't like that. 2 is too many. 1 is too many. 2 is too many. 1 is too many. What other questions are there? So I'm going to look for something really stronger. What's really cool about this, one, I'm going to just remove the title right here, but you could just change the variable very quickly to something like high school GPA. And we're doing sum right now, so this is not a good display. You would lose points. And we see there's a slight relationship right there. We have student loans, and actually, what do you notice about this right here? You should notice something very instantaneously. What do you notice about this? When is your next tier? 5,000. 5,000. So what do you notice instantaneously about this right here? There's something you should notice if you were to analyze this one. What do you notice instantaneously about this one? That is a very easy trend to see about this data. We're now looking at average high school GPA. It's gnarly. There's another trend where it looks to be getting lower, but I see something here. What do you always notice between these two groups? Which is something I would numerically point out. Exactly. Great job right there. There's a trend where people who don't have student loans have higher high school GPAs, which kind of makes sense. Nice job right there, Kirsten. Let's throw some 20 points. We're near the end right here. We're just going to do a few more kind of notes on this. There's a trend where people who do not have student loans generally have higher high school GPAs, of a difference of about, it's not that much of a difference. Here's a tenth of a point. And you could mention, the most drastic difference. So here's something we could write. The most drastic difference is observed between people who are a 10 to 30 minute drive, where the people who do not have high school loans or do not have loans have a 3.84 GPA versus the people who do have loans have a 3.67 GPA. Also, the people with the highest high school GPAs are people who live on campus and do not have student loans. And if you think about why this is, like you could put a theory in, you don't have to do this, but I would theorize that living on campus probably means you're more likely to go to classes. So maybe there's an association with the type of student you are. I did live off campus, and then I did have student loans. So don't worry, I'm not making, this is just trends in the data. And then also not having student loans means you probably had a higher high school GPA. Like if you have a higher high school GPA, you're more likely to get scholarships. So, which I did not have a high school GPA, and I did have student loans. So there you go. But it's just trends in the data. It can vary, all these different things. Yeah, it's accessibility to resources. Exactly. If you're on campus, you probably have more access to resources. Of course, we've seen a huge shift in the system with online education. So maybe everything's totally different right now with how things are associated, because with online education, there's a lot more access to resources for people who are further away. So maybe the trend is not the same. And this is something we'd want to analyze to understand the new process. That's what statisticians are interested in, is things have changed. So how does that impact students? And that's what we do with data. We make data-driven decisions. And looking right here is how to lose points. You will lose points if you do something like this. This will lose you points. I see graphics that look like this. This will lose you points. Everything I am doing right here is how to lose points on the assignment. Does that make sense? This will super lose you points. Let's go here and do sum. This will majorly lose you points. All of these graphics I'm currently making will lose you points, even though that does look kind of interesting. Every single graphic we are observing right now will lose you points. This one would majorly lose you points. Even though, I guess someone could technically, I'd hate it if someone was like, well, technically I have two categorical variables right here. And technically I did averages. You can see Excel just chugging away and the graphic isn't even showing up. So do not do that. There we go right here. This one would not lose you points. It's a lot to analyze. This one would not lose you points right here. This is an okay graphic. It's two categorical variables. It's averages. I'm going to try switching the variable positions. This one would not lose you points. This one is correctly done. Little bit more to analyze. I'll make sure to fill everything out. Exactly. Great job, Drew, right there. Drew, you just got everyone another 20 points. Drew, you noticed the error in what we would say when we give you the error when you're doing it. Drew pointed out those variables that I did when I was saying this will lose you point. Most of the time I was doing quantitative variables. And then major is just one you shouldn't use. It's got too many levels to it. It's something we would have to clean before analyzing. So someone could technically be like, major's categorical. And it's like, yeah, don't use it though, because it's got way too many levels. I know, Drew, thank you so much. And this one right here, you could analyze. It's not as interesting just because there's not as many big differences. We just see like this group right here of only child who does know what an IRA is, have the lowest GPA. That could be due to a lack of individuals. Here's a review question. Let's go to the count of individuals. And yeah, there's very few people in this group. There was 5 people in this group. So you're welcome, Drew. No, this is a team effort right here. And everyone's working really hard. This is the count of individuals right here. People are making Shrek references. Guys, love Shrek. It's my life, man. So Shrek, the first 2 Shrek movies are so good. What happened? It became a franchise. They first were like, let's put out some good quality products. Let's put out some funny movies. And then as time went on, they were like, these movies make money. These movies make lots of money. So let's make as many of them as we can. Let's put out as many Shrek movies as we can. And then isn't it like Command and S? What is Command and S? I do not know. Oh, does anyone know how to get to snipping tool on a Mac to run on running Windows? Oh, so Alexander, you're running your boot camp, right? So if you want to do snipping tool, click the Windows button and just type snip. It should work, right? If you're on your bootcamp portion, you can just click the Windows button and type SNIP, and it should bring up snipping tool. So you can just quick search for it. Does that work for you? If you type this button right here, and then yep, you just type snipping tool, and then usually I pin it to my bar. So if you notice, my snipping tool is pinned down here. So I just pin it to my home bar. That way I can just click this right here and go to snipping tool. So once you have it up, and that screenshot would not be good. Well, one, I haven't filled out the graphic. Two, don't take things you shouldn't take. You can, if you get things you don't want, you can edit them out. Like if I'm going to bring this over, like if I have filled this out, I'm one of those screenshot perfectionist people where I go in, and if you get too much, it's all right, because you can go over here and go to crop. And even that little bit, you would not lose points for it, but it would drive me nuts that there's a tiny little bit that I don't want right there. You could also crop those top portions. I would keep, you know what, this right here we might not need because it's also contained over here on this side. So if I had filled out all the titles, I might screenshot it down to this. So if this was completely filled out, I didn't fill out my Axis titles, please fill out your Axis titles. Sometimes I feel like people skip steps, are like, oh, we don't need to, like, this is it. This is the good. This is a good. Well, one, what errors does Brian have right here? What is Brian's errors? Let's do this to end office hours. Why would Brian lose points? Can we come up with 4 reasons right now when Brian turns this in for one of his graphics he would lose points? I think there's 4 ways Brian's going to lose points right now. Why is Brian going to lose points? There's a lot of ways Brian's going to lose points on this right now. Why would Brian lose points on this? What's the grader going to put as their comments? Because this is going to lose a lot of points right now. Where's Brian going to lose points? We'll end office hours with this. No title. Boom. Get hit with the no title loss. So no title. Brian's losing points for no title. He put prepared by, so he did do that. That's good, but he didn't put a title. No access titles. I didn't fill out, so no access titles filled out. I didn't fill out my access titles, so that's losing points. Man, Brian, you're bad at this. You teach this class? A student one time said something to me like that. He was making a joke, and I didn't get it. I didn't know who a president was during a certain time. I was like, I don't know who the president was like in 1930. And he's like, you teach this class and you don't know who a president was in 1930? I just said, yeah, it's not really stats relevant. I would say that now, but it was like my first or second year teaching, and I was actually like, oh my God, the student like made fun of me. Stories from Brian's past when he was an early teacher. I believe in me too, Alexander. I believe in me too. Boom, Drew is saying average for quantitative variable needs to be displayed. I think, is there one more? I think there was one more I thought of, because I think that's it. There's one more, which, have you gone over Canvas? Tomorrow, Ben, we will do that. We will play Kahoot. The internet will be strong with us. No write-up that mentions values, trends, and highest. You would lose a lot of points for this graphic. You might get like 2 out of 5. You're welcome, Alexander. Great work. We'll be back here to stream class. Will points be deducted if I get trend lines? Send it to me, Alexander. I don't think you want trend lines. What does trend lines look like? I need to look at this. I need to see. I mean, if you do it and you feel like it's all right and it looks good and the grader takes off points, just tell me. Like if you feel like it looks okay, because some stuff is subjective. So where's trend lines at? Trend lines on here. I know you can add trend lines. Which button has trend lines? Oh, there it is right there. Was it on the other one? It's maybe not a bad idea. If you think it adds to it, I'm okay with you putting it. Yeah. If you think it adds to it, I think it's not a bad idea. Because there's subjective stuff. Like, let me make one that looks like would make more sense. Let's go to Greek life. So this is just a very, very simple one. Like I want to see its trend line. It's very little data right there. So yeah, I think so too. You're welcome, Drew. Excellent job, everybody. Right click the data. So, okay, let me see. So you're helping me out. Let's go to family economical. This will do one. So right click the data. Are you saying right here? Add trend line. There you go. And also, I think it's the same thing as going right here, right? And this is between the nose, I think. So that's a trend line. Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot you can do. I like it. I like it. So yeah, it looks like if you right click, you can do a trend line on the yes or the no. There's a strong trend. I'm not against it. So yeah, go ahead and add it. And if you think it helps interpret it, and just tell me, and you can do, yeah, whatever you think is best. If there's just like, if the grader for some reason, oof, don't want that. See, now you got me wanting to, so it looks kind of flat there because the, Alexander, I approve. So it's approved. Just tell me if the grader takes off points. Just make sure to analyze it. If you include it, make sure to kind of show like a trend line has been added to emphasize the relationship. Yeah, just email me if you get deducted points. As long as you don't like, see, watch, someone does this now and they do this. This is what they do. Here, wait, here's their graphic. This is what they turn in. So, and they're like, Brian, I lost points. And I'm like, no, your graphic. That doesn't look good. So I think obviously, Alexander, you're making something nice right there. I have faith in you. For exam 1, is there a specific time we have to take it? Great news, Leslie. I've emailed Terry about this. We have our Stats 1 meeting tomorrow, and I'll probably be sending, I'll be sending an email out tomorrow. We have our Stats 1 meeting. I emailed him. We're planning for the evening. We're planning for a good window of time. And if there is an issue, Leslie, if you're like, this doesn't work for me, I can't take it during this time, we will make something. We will get something to work. So let us know, and we'll help out students who are like, hey, I'm working, or I have to do this or this during this time. We'll work with those students. We got it. So with that, everybody, let's hop back to space right here where space is broken. Let's turn on some music. Let's hit one of the buttons we don't usually hit. Yeah, it's good. Don't usually play this song. As the background breaks, as the music starts. I will be seeing, I think, 201 next at 1:10 your time. Is that correct? That is correct. Suggested location, my studio. With that, as we like to say, bye for now, everyone. Bye!